A summary about what we're going to talk about today. 77% of consumers say they're more loyal to businesses with top-notch service. And that's why customer service is important to various industries, including manufacturing. Interactions with chatbots jumped 81% in 2020, and people continue to interact with them. That means that people are turning more to virtual means to get solutions to their problems instead of reaching out via telephone or other traditional means to interact with customer service teams. 64% of consumers are more comfortable interacting with a live human. So what that means is while interactions with chatbots have increased, people still generally are more comfortable interacting with a live human. And a lot of our session today is going to be focused on how you can enable your customers to interact with your customer service team in a more efficient manner by using chatbots and other AI-enabled information to help get your customers what they need, but still allow them to interact with a live human agent if they would like that human interaction as well. Customer service is a critical part of manufacturing business processes because they support customers after a product is purchased. And D365 customer service can integrate these AI capabilities with your human agents to provide that well-rounded service to your customers. So I'm not necessarily saying AI and chatbots are the only way that you should provide customer service. What we're going to do is provide a look into these AI capabilities within Dynamics 365 for customer service and introduce to you how these AI capabilities can further enable both your customers and your customer service teams to provide that top-notch customer service that your consumers want. Ultimately, you will have happier customers by servicing them in the method that they prefer. A look at our objectives and our agenda for what we're going to talk about today. First, I'm going to give an introduction to customer service in manufacturing. Then we're going to look at some conversation intelligence and sentiment monitoring within Dynamics 365 for customer service. We're going to look at how to use AI Builder to help your customer service teams work more efficiently. And we're going to discuss how you can enable your customers with some self-service capabilities. And then at the end, we'll bring it all together. So to kick things off, looking at an introduction to customer service in manufacturing, why we are talking about customer service today. So customer service is a key part of manufacturing because they are supporting your customers after products are purchased. As you know, customers need support after they purchase a product, whether it's to ask general questions about that product, place further orders, get product support and troubleshooting, or even to pay invoices. So after that product is manufactured and sold, your customers need further support in order to continue doing business with you and to continue to be totally satisfied with the products that they've purchased. And consumers expect your customer service teams to be quick, responsive, empathetic, and knowledgeable. So we're going to take all this information today and look at how Dynamics 365 for customer service can enable your customer service teams to be all of these things, and also give your customers a good experience when they reach out to you to make sure that they're getting the support that they've come to know and expect. And before we dive deeper into the different capabilities that I'm going to outline throughout this presentation, I wanted to address a common question that comes up because a lot of manufacturing businesses often lie within the ERP system. And today we're taking a little bit different approach and talking about how to help and support manufacturing within a CRM system. So oftentimes warehouse data, shipping information can all be stored in the ERP system, right? So wherever you're shipping things out of, processing batches, shipping these products out the door, those all typically reside in an ERP system, but oftentimes it's really important to bring some of that data into your CRM system as well. And the way to determine what type of information should reside in what system is by taking a look at what types of users or which of your team members are working in which of these environments, and then what type of information they need to be enabled to productively complete their jobs, right? So a lot of times what we end up doing is taking data from your ERP system and displaying it or showing it within your CRM system to be able to give teams such as your customer service team that information at their fingertips to be able to interact with your customers. I'm sure we've all been in these situations where you reach out to a customer service team and you have to be put on hold because they need to go do some further research. And the longer you're on hold, the more frustrated you get when you're dealing with those situations. So really what we're talking about here is bringing the information that your customer service teams into one interface so they can accurately and quickly provide information to your customers. So when you're trying to decide what type of information to make visible to your customer service team, you want to think about things like what data do they need to be able to complete their jobs? So in my previous example, do they often get asked, has my shipment been sent out to me yet? When can I receive it? That might be information that you want to make visible into their CE system or CRM system so they don't have to go back and forth constantly between their ERP system and their CRM system. It's also important to look at how many platforms is your team using. The more platforms they're using means the more hold time the customers are going to be on, or the more downtime that you're going to have during those calls or customer interactions while your service team is looking for the information that they need. They also need to determine what information should be visible or what needs to be manipulated by your team. So as I mentioned previously, there's some information that will reside in the ERP system that you simply need to make visible to your customer service team. And perhaps there's other information that you need to make editable or something that your customer service team can update. Such as if someone calls in and says, I've changed my phone number, can you please update my phone number? That might need to be some information that needs to be updated in your system. So all of this information is to be said that the ultimate goal is to get your customer service team to work as efficient as possible and getting as much information into consolidated platforms as you can. All right, so now that we've talked a little bit about the relationship between ERP systems and CRM systems, I'm going to dive into some more CRM type functionality that's related back to AI that will really help your customer service teams perform top-notch service to your customers. So what we're going to look at first is conversation intelligence and sentiment monitoring. And you might be wondering, what is customer sentiment? So customer sentiment within Dynamics 365 for customer service is an AI-based conversation intelligence that shows your customer service team how a customer is feeling live during a conversation. And when I say conversation in this regard, what I'm referring to is either a phone call or a web chat. So basically some type of live conversation that your customer service agent is having with a customer. This sentiment within Dynamics 365 for customer service is based off of keywords or phrases that the customer says. And you can see on the right-hand side of the screen here, the various icons that show your customer service agent how that customer might be feeling. They range from very positive to very negative, and every conversation is going to start off in that neutral category. So whenever a new conversation appears, it's going to start neutral. And then as the conversation goes on, they'll be able to see that that customer sentiment value starts to change to either very positive or very negative based off of keywords and phrases that your customers are saying. And so if someone gets on the call and says, I'm so happy you've resolved my problem, you might see that sentiment jump up to very positive. On the same plane, if someone jumps on and says, you're really not solving my problem, I need to talk to a supervisor, I'm really mad, you might see that jump down to very negative. So this is an example of what the customer sentiment looks like just generally within the system to give you an idea of the scale that we're working with here. So what that agent experience will look like in regards to that customer sentiment is an example up on your screen here of a chat that's occurring within the D365 customer service platform. That customer sentiment is visible on every conversation, and you can see at the top of the screen here with this arrow, it's pointing to where your agent can see that sentiment level. It has the color coding, just like you saw on the previous screen. Green is going to be more towards the good, red will be towards the negative, and it allows your support agents to change how they interact with customers based off of what they're seeing on the screen. Again, this is AI. It's based off of keywords and phrases that the customer is saying. And if the agent is participating in this phone call and is seeing very positive, but perhaps catches something that they could be doing better, they can still intervene and they don't have to take word for word exactly what that sentiment is saying. They should still use their best judgment on how they interact with the customers. However, this is intended to be an indicator of, ooh, perhaps this conversation is going downhill. Maybe you should tweak the words that you're using or the phrasing that you're using to come off in a more positive manner to your customer to start building that sentiment level back up to get ultimately to that very positive level. This next example is showing you how the supervisor experience looks in regards to customer sentiment. When you're working within the customer service workspace, there is an ongoing conversations dashboard available that allows supervisors or managers with that security level to see a summary of all of the conversations that are currently taking place, and it gives them a snapshot of the sentiment into each of those conversations. So the reason I think this is really cool as a supervisor is because you can be more proactive in helping out your agents before a conversation gets to that very negative level. So if you are actively monitoring conversations that are taking place and you see one tick down to slightly negative or negative, you can use this really cool monitoring function where you can simply select that conversation and you can choose to participate in it, whether it's a chat or a phone call. And it starts out just by being an active listener. Your agent will get a notification on the screen showing them that you have joined the conversation. However, you won't be saying anything publicly facing to the customer until you have that discussion with your agent if it's something that you as a supervisor need to jump in on. Just to zoom in a little bit on that screenshot to give you a closer look, you can see here that there are some channels such as live chat, Facebook, SMS, Twitter, that are currently in an active state, and it shows you what the sentiment is for each of those conversations. So towards the bottom, you can see maybe there's some an active conversation in there for Facebook that's currently very negative. If I saw that as a supervisor, I would select that conversation, choose to monitor it, and I could see exactly what the agent and the conversation, or sorry, and the customer are saying back and forth to each other, which will allow me to help out and maybe make suggestions to my agent or say, hey, I can jump in on this conversation and I can help you with it. So it really is that more proactive approach to monitoring conversations, which I think is great. It can help you avoid getting to that very negative stage. Your agents also have this really great feature called Smart Assist. And in the screenshot here, you can see it's off to the right of the screen and it's directly in line with that conversation where your agent is currently working. So to zoom in and give a closer look on this, what this is doing is it's taking keywords from the topic and it's identifying knowledge articles and or cases that relate to the keywords that your agent has typed in. So in this example, you can see that the topic says home address change, and the Smart Assist uses AI technology to identify additional knowledge articles or cases that have similar keywords and suggest them to your agent directly on the screen that they're currently working in. So the reason that this is helpful is because if I'm perhaps a new agent or I'm not sure how to resolve this issue and the customer is describing it to me and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I've never done this before, I don't know how to do it. AI is using the Smart Assist pane to give me knowledge articles that might be helping me out, or it might also be linking to cases that have been resolved by some of my teammates so I can reference that information and learn how to resolve this issue. So again, it's all about working more efficiently and putting information directly in front of your agents so they can resolve the issue with the customers quicker and ultimately make your customers happy. Another tip related to this is that Dynamics 365 customer service is a great place to store and manage your knowledge articles. And not only can these knowledge articles be used by your live agents, they can be used with Power Virtual agents as well. And we'll dive into this a little bit later. All right, so now we're going to take a deep dive into AI, or I guess I shouldn't say a deep dive, a light dive into AI Builder to teach you a little bit about how to work more efficiently with this tool that Microsoft has available. And give some examples of how to use AI Builder. It's basically some functionality that you can use in conjunction with tools like Power Automate or Power Apps that can pull in AI information to ultimately allow your agents to, again, work more efficiently. So an example that we have here is to use an AI Builder for email sentiment. AI Builder can analyze words from an email to determine and summarize sentiment. So as I was talking about previously with customer sentiment, when you're on a live conversation, like a phone call or a web chat, you can see that sentiment increasing and decreasing throughout the conversation, and the agent can see that sentiment level when the conversation ends. So say it ends at a positive note. That's great. If you do a lot of your business via email, it might be helpful to try to pull out some sentiment from those emails, and you can use AI Builder to do that. And what's helpful for that then is your supervisors can look for trends amongst agents and help develop some skills in areas that might be troublesome. If you have specific agents that you're knowing where the sentiment is appearing constantly negative, maybe some training could occur there to help them use some words that come off more positively, or that may be supporting your customers in a different manner. Likewise, you can also use that to identify sentiment from your customers to determine if they're satisfied with the email responses that they're receiving as well. Another example of how you might use AI Builder is with order creation. You could extract information from customer purchase orders or emails to help quickly create orders within the system. What this does is it really reduces the need for manually entering data and can put the value back on those high value tasks instead of doing repetitive data maintenance. This would be helpful in situations if your customers are frequently emailing in POs referencing product and price information. So instead of just taking that information, looking at it, and then typing it into another system, you could potentially use AI Builder to read that information and get it directly entered into the system on your behalf, so no one has to manually go in and enter that information. The key note with AI Builder is a lot of these do take training, so you want to plan for resources to make sure that your AI tools are trained appropriately so they know where to go and look for the information that they're supposed to be extracting. For the last topic here, what we want to talk about is how to enable your customers with some self-service capabilities. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, 65% of customers prefer remote human interactions or digital self-service over traditional interactions. So what that tells us is that people are okay interacting remotely, and they really want some self-service capabilities in order to solve their own problem before they need to reach out for help. And also what we learned at the beginning too is that despite people being more open to these self-service capabilities, they are still more comfortable working with a direct human being at times. So what we'll talk about is how AI in conjunction with that human capability is really giving your customers that well-rounded service that they're looking for. So Power Virtual Agents. Power Virtual Agents are a chatbot tool that you can embed directly on your website that allows your customers to interact with them before getting sent over to a live agent. So they can ask common questions to this chatbot, however you set it up to be able to interact with your customers and answer their common questions. And some of the common questions that you might teach this bot to be able to help your customers with are, when will my order ship? Is this item in stock? What was my last order? Or have you received my return? This is information that you can type into your chatbot or program it, set it up to be able to answer these types of questions. So if someone comes in and says, when will my order ship? It can go retrieve information that's stored in your system to be able to answer that information accurately for your customer without having to get a human involved. The bonus here is if the bot is unable to answer the question, they can escalate that over to a human person to make sure that your customer is still getting the support that they need. So instead of being frustrated and saying, oh, this bot didn't do what I need, I guess I need to call, you can set this up so it routes in directly to your agents and they can just intersect that chat and hop in and help out your customer. When they do that, they'll actually see a whole transcript of everything that occurred between the bot and the agent before it got transferred, so that customer service agent can jump in and have a knowledge of everything that was talked about up until that point. So instead of starting fresh and saying, "Hi, what can I help you with?" They can say, "Hi, it looks like you were trying to get the date on when your order shipped. I'm sorry that our virtual agent couldn't help you out with that. I was able to pull up that information and here it is." Right? So we're still all about working efficiently and getting your customers the information that they need as quickly as possible. Another new tool that Microsoft rolled out recently is the use of Power Virtual Agents with Copilot. I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about Copilot. There's been a lot of buzz around this recently, and I'm sure you're hearing more about it over AI topics that we at Stoneridge have shared out with you as well. So what's really cool about this new feature is that you can set up your Power Virtual Agents or your chatbots to pull information directly from your company's website. So instead of having to go through and set up answers and questions directly within that Power Virtual Agent platform, you can now choose to link this directly to your website. And what'll happen is when a customer asks a question of that bot, it will go look for the answer on your website and be able to provide that information back to your customers pretty quickly. Um, the key here is that you will likely want to maintain a knowledge base with some helpful articles that your virtual agent can pull from so it can solve problems like troubleshooting. So, hey, I have an issue with this. Can you please help me solve this? Then, if there's a good knowledge article on your website, the bot can go retrieve information from that knowledge article and then share it directly with your customers. The result of using this Copilot functionality with your virtual agents is that you'll have higher quality answers based on information directly from your website. So just to bring it all together here for you, today what we talked about was the importance of customer service within your manufacturing organization because your customer service teams are supporting your customers after the product is purchased. In addition to that, you can use some really great tools such as customer sentiment, conversation intelligent, smart assist to provide context directly to your agents and your supervisors and make sure that they are interacting with your customers in your preferred manner, creating that ultimate positive outcome with the customer sentiment. We also talked about how you can use AI Builder, and I gave a couple examples of where that might be helpful, like looking for customer sentiment in emails, or perhaps using it for some order entry automation. Lastly, we talked about how to enable your customers with some self-service capabilities, such as leveraging Power Virtual Agents on your website and leveraging this Copilot functionality to be able to give better answers to your customers by pulling information directly from your website.